Hi guys, I'm Naomi Scicluna, and today I'll be talking to you guys about the panic years, also known as your 20s. So I know a few of you guys have already been through that phase of your life, but a good chunk of you are still in there with me, and I think you'll really relate to this one. Spoiler alert, I'm literally still 23, so I can't give you a solution or a fix to the panic years. This is aimed more at giving you some insight into what it feels like being a young adult in this day and age. So, what are the panic years? The panic years are a panic to be perfect, to have everything figured out before 25, to stay ahead of the cost of living crisis, to buy a house, invest money, all while staying present, because we all know the importance of mental health and well being. But hey, you're only in your 20s once, right? So you need to stay social, go out on weekends, but not too much. You also need to focus on your career. That's important too. Read books, travel the world while you're still young, prioritize time for yourself, keep up with trends, and don't forget your skincare because you'll regret it by the time you're 50. And make sure you have enough time with your family because you're getting older and so are they. So, whoa, let's take a step back because that's a lot. We're already in our 20s, right? But wait, you're literally still in your 20s. There's so much time, yet it feels like we're already so behind. You feel so young, yet it feels like you feel so young, yet it's starting to hit that you're now a proper adult and you're responsible for yourself. And that can be scary sometimes. For some reason, there's this pressure to build something by the time you're 25. Why? I don't know, because some guy on TikTok said so, and what he said at the time really made sense. That's how things work nowadays, guys, so bear with me. 1 minute, you're on top of the world, and the next, you're having a complete breakdown, contemplating your entire life. I'm sure we've all been there. Yet it can feel lonely, because in the moment, it feels like you're the only person going through it. I look around myself, and everyone is going through a different phase of their life. It's hard not to overthink that sometimes. I see people in my age group who are more rich, more successful, more put together. Some have their own businesses, some are already engaged, some already bought a house in this economy. I mean, good for them, but I don't have any of that yet. And I'm okay with not having all of that. I know I don't need to have all that at this point in my life. I'm not loaded. I'm still studying, even though I low-key want to drop out. And I still live with my parents. And that is so okay. Yet somehow, even though I'm saying this in front of all of you guys, even though I know that I've succeeded in so many other different areas, and I know that I should be so proud of myself. I mean, I'm literally giving a TEDxValletta talk right now. Of course I should be proud of myself. Yet I still find myself comparing my successes to everyone else's and feeling horrible about it, more than I wish to admit. And that pretty much sums up my experience in my 20s so far, to be honest, and I'm still 23. So yes, they call them the panic years for a reason. It can be quite intimidating at times, but I swear it's also a lot of fun. Realistically, all of this points to success and fulfillment. Everyone wants to feel proud of their accomplishments, and everyone deserves to, or at least most people do. But it's funny because success has been redefined throughout the years, especially in this generation where we have so many opportunities at our fingertips. Suddenly, we have no excuse. And sometimes it can feel like we can't even celebrate our achievements simply because they now feel like an obligation. As you see, even though we're very lucky to be exposed to so many opportunities, it's also created quite an overwhelming space for us. I mean, technically, it would have been easier if I only had 2 or 3 career paths to choose from, but nowadays they're endless. And again, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing, and we are so blessed. But it also is quite overwhelming if you're just thrown into it like that. So we have more options, right? But when you have more options, you start getting more picky, and that's what's happening by time. People are moving away from traditional career paths, and especially when compared to previous generations. Young people want to be their own boss. In fact, freelancing hit an all-time high, and a lot of people are opting for side hustles and remote work nowadays. This type of work gives you a different kind of pride and ownership. And when people are looking for independence and flexibility, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Youths are reshaping business practices and creating a new definition of success. Values like mental health, well-being, inclusion, and diversity are at the forefront now more than ever. Understanding these shifts offers valuable insights into the future of work and also the evolving mindset of the next generation. We're also seeing a lot of people delving into and balancing more than one career path at a time. This is what we call hustle culture, the mindset of always being on the grind and busy, getting as much money as possible. The busier you are, the better, and the more successful. So you keep hustling, sometimes even at the expense of your own physical and mental health. This comes from the constant need to seek validation, always wanting more. Once you succeed at something, you're on a high, right? But then once that's done, what do? You go seek more. And this basically creates a vicious cycle of not knowing when to stop until you crash. And this actually takes me back to the panic years. It gives me that same rushed, panicked feeling. So we've basically ended up right where we started. And yes, it may feel like a cycle, but what's actually really cool is that since it's a cycle, every time you go through it, you're also adapting better to it. And yes, it can feel lonely sometimes, which is why it's super important to be surrounded with the right support, both through other people and also through yourself. Something I really admire in my current generation is how real and authentic people have become. Yes, they're the panic years, but it really feels like we're going through them together. People are really vocal about their struggles nowadays, even when it comes to the more taboo topics. The comfort of opening up social media and seeing that so many other people are going through the same feelings I'm going through is so underrated. Okay, so what's the point here? What's the fix? Well, as I mentioned earlier, there is no fix. The point of the panic years is that this is the time to experiment, to screw up, and to figure out who you are at the end of the day. The panic years are there to see what works and what doesn't. And the only way to figure that out is by diving straight in. So yes, maybe I don't have everything figured out right now, not even close, but maybe we could catch up in a couple of years and things will be different then. In the meantime, let's just enjoy and appreciate the current moment. Thank you very much.